You know, it's very strange when you talk to socialists. They very often will say that they are the justified ones when it comes to violence, or that they're not the violent ones, they're just fighting against oppression and exploitation. And if you bring up the Soviet Union or North Korea or Mao or Pol Pot, many of them will pull back and say that's not what they're all about. They don't agree with the wholesale slaughter of untold numbers of people. Okay, that's good, but when you get something like this, where Bhaskar Sankara, who's the founding editor of Jacobin magazine, an openly socialist publication, when he says that I think killing little Ramanov children was justified, but it's not surprising why these views are controversial given most people's ethical and moral frameworks. Well, that's certainly true. It's controversial because it is abjectly insane. It's the rambling of someone who's completely morally bankrupt. The Ramanov children were the children in the Ramanov imperial family, a royal family before the revolution in Russia. Now, there are Marxists and socialists, much like Sankara, that want to justify this killing, saying that the family had it coming. Okay, but what does that have to do with the children? I mentioned North Korea before for a specific reason, because they, of course, have that 3 generations of punishment rule, which to anyone with even a remotely functional sense of decency, justice, or morality sees that it's a heinous practice. Your brother escapes the DPRK, so the state takes you and throws you into prison. Then to really add some thick layers of punishment to it all, they have your children and then your children's children grow up in that prison as well. It's punishing kids for the supposed crimes of the parents. So people like Sankara want to say that the Ramanov family was corrupt, and so those kids would have grown up to be corrupt, or perhaps they would have been killed anyway because so many people didn't like them. And they were, and even if they weren't killed, they were being groomed into being vicious exploiters anyway. I think that's a bit of a leap. That's the justification that many in the Third Reich made. Not for nothing. I don't know if that passes the we should kill the children and then strip and mutilate their corpses test, which is what they did, because as usual, Marxism has this tendency to bring out the absolute worst in human beings and has this way of turning people into bloodthirsty psychopaths. It just does that to people for some reason. So why distance yourself from the DPRK and disavow what they do with their 3 generations of punishment rule, but then immediately go and lend some support to something that's highly relatable to it, which again is one of the most vile things that they do, which is to punish children for the alleged crimes of the parents. It's absolutely disgusting. And by the way, Sankara had to delete this tweet because of all the flack he got for it, which isn't surprising. And even furthermore, in regard to apologizing for horrible things, Jacobin, the magazine, recently also posted this gem of a tweet where they said, quote, "The Berlin Wall was no doubt ugly and heartbreaking, but the economic and geopolitical stability it ensured also gave the German Democratic Republic the chance to build a society that was broadly characterized by modest prosperity and social equality between classes and genders," end quote. Again, another horrible thing being apologized for, and even given some praise. It was characterized by modest prosperity? By who? All the people who tried relentlessly to get over that wall and into West Germany, out of that hellhole? All the people who were shot trying to get over the wall by the socialists? By all the people suffering from food shortages, hunger, and malnutrition? What an insane statement. And they had social equality between classes and genders? Well, I think they had economic equality as well. They were all equally oppressed and equally immiserated and impoverished. This is an insult to all the people who died in East Germany. It's just so obvious. Socialists want to cast themselves as wanting peace and prosperity, but every time they get their hands on power, they become savages, and even those without any political power cannot help themselves but to apologize and make excuses, or even actively praise some of the most vile things done in the name of the ideology that they subscribe to. It is just sick. But anyway, that's all for right now. Like and subscribe, and take it easy.